Give us a break. Don't try what you're about to see at home.
On this episode of Mythbusters, Jamie and Adam sing for science to see if sound waves can actually extinguish a fire.
Is my voice enough to put out this flame?
It's an audio investigation that leads to another Mythbusters world first. Before it all escalates into a sonic boom.
Beautiful! That could not have gone better.
Then Tori, Carrie, and Grant test hypnosis myths.
Sleep.
First up, can you plant a suggestion to make someone do something against their will?
I like that.
And then Jamie and Adam stage a scene,
Movie star!
to test the myth that hypnosis can enhance your memory.
2, 3, and begin.
Who are the Mythbusters? Adam Savage
Dangerous my middle name.
and Jamie Heineman.
Behave or we're going to make you into a coat.
Between them, over 30 years special effects experience. Joining them, Tori Belleci, Carrie Byron,
Don't try what you're about to see at home.
and Grant Imahara.
He's alive!
They don't just tell the myths, they put them to the test.
What's the myth?
Quite simply, it's that you can extinguish a fire using only the power of a human voice.
You're making that up.
I am not. It actually comes from an early 20th century naturalist named Charles Kellogg, who claimed far and wide that he could put out fires using only his voice.
And didn't he also invent cereal or something?
No, wrong guy.
Charles Kellogg, unlike the cereal guy, was a vocal genius. In the early 1900s, he traveled the states in a hollow redwood tree and wowed audiences with his bird impersonations, which could supposedly put out fires. He claimed he could do this not with his exhaled breath, but with the sound waves themselves. As sound travels through air, it creates pressure waves. These pressure waves can cause air molecules to vibrate, and if they vibrate enough, a flame can apparently be blown out.
Do we have a plan?
Well, I think we have a reasonable plan. Kellogg claimed he could put out a fire with his voice, and he demonstrated it. We should find out how, replicate that demonstration, and see what we get.
Okay.
What I have here are the rudiments of Kellogg's exact experimental setup for using his voice to extinguish fire. It consists of gas feeding into a chamber that has a membrane on it. And the membrane moves in relation to the sound in the room and affects the pressure of the fire. You can see as I'm talking, the fire is moving, and it doesn't have to do with my breath, it has to do with the sound of my voice.
With the so-called sensitive flame fired up, Adam's got a copy of a 1905 gramophone recording of Kellogg singing like a bird.
All right, here's a little history. His human voice was analyzed and found to be normal under 4,000 hertz. However, his bird voice soared into the inaudible above 14,000 hertz. His voice reputedly had a range of 12 1/2 octaves, while the normal range of a singing voice is just 2 1/2. We will see. Kellogg's bird voice is astonishing. I don't care whether he's whistling or grabbing his neck and doing this or whatever. That it comes out of a person is amazing.
The high-frequency bird voice makes the flame go ballistic, but extinguished it ain't.
That's kind of spooky, actually.
Isn't it? There's a specific, like, bird call of Kellogg's that makes the flame, I think, do the largest sort of differential dance, like bango, 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 like that.
Is he saying red rum?
Despite their lack of success, all is not lost. It's possible that Adam's CD of a recording made over 100 years ago is simply not good enough quality.
I'm going to try to put this flame out using my dog voice.
So to keep testing this myth, the boys must come up with a way of replicating Kellogg's full vocal range before Adam goes barking mad.
No, my dog voice doesn't work.
Look into my eyes. Deeper. You will fall into a deep, deep sleep.
What are you doing?
Trying to hypnotize Grant.
Why?
We're working on hypnosis myths.
Hypnosis has long sparked a spiral of myths about its so-called powers. Myths that are about to get the Mythbusters treatment, starting with an all-time classic.
An evil hypnotist can plant a post-hypnotic suggestion that forces you to do something against your will.
Ah, you mean like in the movies when there's like a sleeper agent and they give him a code word, he wakes him up and he kills people?
Exactly. Except we probably won't kill people.
Who is the most effective assassin? Well, I would think anyone who manages to conceal his identity as an assassin.
One who doesn't know who is an assassin.
It's another mad movie plotline. An evil villain uses hypnosis to plant a trigger that turns an ordinary person into the perfect assassin without them even knowing.
I must kill Pap Schmear. Will that be with cream and sugar, sir?
So is this Hollywood hocus pocus, or can it really happen?
All right, so which one of us is going to get hypnotized?
Unfortunately, it's not that easy. Apparently, not everyone can be hypnotized. So I think, first of all, we need to go find a hypnotist, find out which one of us is susceptible. And whoever that is, that's the person that gets the post-hypnotic suggestion.
Great. Let's go find a hypnotist.
To put this myth to the test, the starting point is to see if any of them can actually be hypnotized in the first place.
Here we have a hypnotherapist and a neurotherapist. They're going to figure out which one of us can be hypnotized. For this test, we need post-hypnotic suggestion. And if none of us can be hypnotized, we're stuck.
And first up is Tori. The plan is that Carrie and Grant will monitor his progress with the help of neurotherapist Cynthia and her EEG machine.
So what's this, like if I get a wrong answer, then you shock me?
While clinical hypnotist Seth will try to put him under her spell.
Just keep on focusing on my hand, noticing that your eyes start to feel heavy. Allow that feeling of heaviness to get more and more heavy.
Do you know what percentage of people are able to be hypnotized?
Easily 85%.
85%?
To some degree.
Despite the odds, they're not off to a good start, because even after 10 minutes, Tori's brain activity has only dropped by 5%.
I would want to see it get to about half of what it was. So if he was about 9.5, I'd like to see it at about maybe 4.
Tori's inability to relax means he's out of the race. So, next up is Carrie, and the boys have high hopes for her.
I actually think that she's a reasonable candidate to be hypnotized.
Why?
I don't know, it's kind of a gut feeling.
Could you tell her to do things and she does them?
No, that's definitely not the reason why.
But their hopes are ill-founded because Carrie won't go under either.
I think I would start to get relaxed enough that I was almost in a sleep-like state, but then I'd be like, oh, I'm trying to be in a sleep-like state. I'm trying so hard. So it's almost like I couldn't let myself completely relax.
So, with the score standing at 0-2, it all boils down to Grant. But will Mr. Science submit to Seth?
Deeply, deeply down. More and more relaxed.
Despite Grant's initial discomfort, after 5 minutes, things are looking good.
Like a rag doll, deeper down.
The EEG machine shows Grant's brain activity has already dropped from a level 9 to a 4.
I think he's in a deep state. I think he's more hypnotizable. There you go. Look at that.
And what that means is he's just the kind of highly suggestible subject they're looking for.
Grant would make a good subject for a post-hypnotic suggestion. He's a very susceptible person.
You're the winner.
Okay, what does that mean?
Well, you know what that means. Now we're going to see if we can hypnotize you and see if we can get you to do something that you wouldn't normally do.
She's not going to embarrass me or anything.
Don't worry, it won't be too humiliating.
Still to come, more firefighting with sound.
Fun!
From song to sonic booms. But next,
Can I be hypnotized to do something against my will?
popular in the early 1900s, Charles Kellogg was a naturalist come showman with an extraordinary talent. Not only could he sing like a bird, but he could also supposedly extinguish a sensitive flame with his voice. But when the Mythbusters tried to replicate this feat, they failed to douse anything. But in case the 100-year-old recording they used was of insufficient quality, they've now called in the big guns.
Hey, Roger. Hey, how you doing? Good to see you. Come to help us do some detective work?
Yeah. Sound engineer Roger has brought a tone generator to replicate the full vocal range of Kellogg's bird voice.
In Kellogg's day, this was the way that you generated a precise frequency. This is what they used to tune pianos and other things, I believe. Not that I've ever done it, but these days we have things called tone generators, and so we'll be able to get any frequency that we want within any conceivable range.
But before getting into a frequency frenzy, let's get a few things straight. Sound is vibrations traveling through the air in waves. Its frequency is a measure of how many times the sound wave vibrates in 1 second. The higher the frequency, the higher the pitch. Kellogg's bird voice could supposedly reach a barely audible frequency of 14,000 hertz, something that the tone generator can match.
I'd love to sweep all the way up through and into the inaudible range, because again, we keep on seeing in all the material Kellogg said that he thought it was the high frequency that affected the flame more than low frequency.
Roger cuts straight to the chase and tunes into 14,000 hertz, but the flame keeps burning bright.
So, we're down?
So the team decides to change tactic and lower the frequency, and what do you know?
Hey! What was that at?
At 166 hertz, the opposite end of the spectrum to Kellogg, and the sensitive flame does go silent. But Adam's not entirely satisfied.
This is a rig that utilizes fire, it's true, but I can put this fire out by doing that. That's the rig failing to maintain a fire. That's not a fire being extinguished. And I think that's a really key difference. What I'd like to do now that I've got all this equipment set up is just put a candle in front of the speaker and see what kind of responses I get out of it.
It's an ordinary household candle, about as simple as fire can get, and unlike the sensitive flame, has no special trappings to make it reactive to sound.
Ready? What?
Yeah.
They start with high frequencies, but get nowhere fast.
No appreciable effect on the flame at all.
It's not until they lower the tone that they get the result they're after. So at low frequencies from a tone generator, a flame can be extinguished with sound. The low-pitched sound sends out a pressure wave which vibrates the air so much that the flame gets snuffed out.
My question now would be, could you and I replicate that with our voices? Can we pipe our voices to this thing?
Yeah. So, can the human voice replicate this feat? Time to tackle this myth karaoke style. Just like in real life, Adam is loud, but he's not very deep.
Ba, ba, ba.
And the candle keeps candling on.
That's as low as I can go.
Will Jamie be able to do any better?
Ladies and gentlemen, right now I'd like to bring up to the mic a very good old friend of mine, Mr. James Heineman. James Heineman, let's bring him on up. Come on.
Am I on?
Oh, yeah.
Jamie's dulcet tones ring out, but the candle keeps on keeping on.
Is that all the volume we've got?
Yeah.
In desperation, Jamie adopts the birthday cake approach.
That seems to be working.
But it doesn't look like he'll be getting his wish anytime soon. Can you really be hypnotized to do something against your will and without your knowledge?
Will that be with cream and sugar, sir?
The team has already determined that Grant is a suitably susceptible subject. So, all that remains now is for Carrie and Tori to figure out what they want him to do.
I'm a little apprehensive as to what the other two might have come up with in their little minds.
And apprehensive he should be.
I like that.
The plan is when Tori says the words quantum physics, Grant will suddenly decide to draw love hearts on his beloved robot, Deadblow, something he would never normally do. And when Carrie yawns, he'll jump up and down, something he might normally do. It's back into the chair for Lab Rat Grant, and it's only a few minutes before the souped-up EEG machine shows that Grant's brain activity has dropped by 50%.
It's kind of creepy. He looks like a zombie.
With Grant well and truly under, Seth plants the seeds of post-hypnotic suggestion, starting with one he would never normally do.
When you hear the words quantum physics on your robot, you're going to draw a beautiful, feminine heart.
Oh my God. She just gave him the command. And he agreed to it without cracking a smile.
He can't. I know he's not that good an actor.
So far, so good. Now for the much easier second suggestion.
Whenever you see Carrie yawn, you are going to have this uncontrollable urge to jump up and down.
He looks like he's putty in her hands.
I'd like you now to get ready to come back.
So the seeds have been sown. They'll have to wait until tomorrow to see if they've taken root. Later, the team witness an event that leaves Jamie mad as a hatter.
Leave the hat alone.
But first, it's Mythbusters, the musical.
Coming up next on Mythbusters!
Can a human voice put out a fire?
Jamie and Adam are trying to overturn conventional firefighting techniques by putting out fires with the human voice. But the results so far aren't about to set the world ablaze.
So where are we at with this myth?
Well, we have successfully demonstrated that we can put out a fire using a sound, but we have not demonstrated that a human voice can do it.
Doesn't that mean it's busted?
Not exactly. I mean, just because we can't do it doesn't mean it can't be done. Remember shattering a wine glass?
When Adam and Jamie tried to shatter a wine glass with their unamplified voices, they got nowhere fast.
Not surprisingly, I don't think I can do it.
It wasn't until they unleashed the power of rocker pro Jamie Vandera that they got their lucky break.
I think it's time to bring in some professionals.
Like some singers.
Exactly.
Cue local a cappella group Hookslide with their most bizarre gig to date.
Whenever you're ready, take it away and try and put out that candle.
Sure, they can hold a harmony, but are they firefighting material?
One of you hit a really specific note.
Once again, it's the low frequencies that have the most effect, so bassist Jonathan gets his chance for a solo. At first, even his lowest low doesn't work. But as the saying goes, if at first you don't succeed, well...
It turns out that it is possible to put out a flame with an amplified human voice. Of course, we can't leave it there. On the tails of that success, I think we should set up a bigger flame and some bigger speakers and put John to the test.
With mission accomplished on the candle, it's time to turn up the heat to record-breaking proportions.
This is our next test bed to try and put a fire out with sound or a voice. This is simply propane that you'd hook up to your barbecue. It's really simple.
We're going to kind of supersize it here. We've got a much bigger flames, much bigger speakers. We'll see whether we can get the same effect.
It's back to the booth for our beatbox bassist. Blowing raspberries in the name of science. Try as he might, even at a whopping 146 decibels, Jonathan's raspberries are no match for the bigger burn.
I think it's time to move on to tones. Thank you so much.
Appreciate it.
Roger, it's all up to you now. You ready?
Ready?
Armed with $80,000 worth of audio equipment, is there anything Roger can do to put out this fire? He works his way through the frequencies and cranks it up to a bone-jarring, painfully loud 155 decibels. But even that can't put out the fire.
There's stuff falling off of the ceiling.
But Jamie's got one last idea.
We're going to give it one last shot. We've reconfigured the speakers so they're more or less coming at the flame in one wall. Frankly, we're a little baffled. We don't know what else to do.
Will the V formation be V for victory? Roger cranks up the bass and Adam's on his hands and knees praying for a sweet spot. It's less about intricate planning and more about trial and error. But suddenly...
Oh, my God.
It's a red-letter day for science, because at 55 hertz and a room-shaking 149 decibels, they've achieved a world first. No one has ever put out a fire of this size with sound until now.
This is yet another in a long line of cases in which I completely didn't expect the result we got at the very end of the day. Everything we'd done up until we got that flame to go out was telling me not going to happen. The difference between a candle and a real fire is significant, and we were not going to get any positive results. And we did. That's stunning. I love being wrong.
But it's not over yet, because before this myth is extinguished, there's an explosive twist to the tale.
This one's about putting out fire with your voice.
If you want to see other interesting ways that sound and fire interact, log on to discovery.com/Mythbusters. It's hot stuff.
It's like any other morning at Mythbusters, except today Grant is a ticking time bomb. Yesterday, he was implanted with 2 post-hypnotic suggestions. It's time to see if those seeds have taken root.
All right, so the 2 triggers are, one, we're saying quantum physics, and that's going to cause Grant to pull out his marker and go draw hearts on his robot. And then the second one is Carrie's going to yawn, and that's going to get him to jump around. So either way, it should be a very entertaining day.
Neither Carrie nor Tori have spoken to Grant about yesterday's hypnosis session. As far as he's concerned, he's designing a Diet Coke and Mentos rig. So, bring on the trigger words.
You know what I can do is make something that will just push them all in really quick.
That just seems like a lot of extra work.
I think it's getting too complicated.
I mean, it's not like this is quantum physics.
That was the trigger.
Okay.
But the robot remains graffiti-free. Maybe the more subtle suggestion will stand a better chance.
I have some
carry-ons once and twice, but nothing. The triggers are enough to give him the giggles, but not enough to put him under their power. So, what went wrong?
I had a clear idea of what they wanted me to do. And all through, I was trying to say, okay, well, maybe, hopefully I'll forget, and then it'll be subliminal, but just kept coming back, you know.
So it didn't work on Grant, but is it a little too soon to call this one game over for the myth?
I think the real problem is you always knew you were going to get a suggestion while you were under. You didn't know what it was, but you always knew.
All right. Well, maybe what we do is we find somebody from the crew who believes in hypnosis and wants to change. While they're under, we secretly put a post-hypnotic suggestion in there.
I have the perfect candidate. Alice, who's one of our producers, wants to stop chewing the tops of her pens. And she is a big believer in alternative healing techniques like hypnosis. So I say we bring her in, give her hypnosis for chewing the tops of the pens, but while she's under, we give her our own suggestion.
Producer Alice has been working with Jamie and Adam on another story and has no idea what this team is up to. She thinks she's here to be hypnotized to kick her disgusting pen-chewing habit.
Just allow your eyes to close and allow yourself to double the relaxation.
But what she doesn't know is that while she's under, something devious is going on.
So we're going to give her post-hypnotic suggestions the same way that we gave you. We're going to give her one that is something that she could easily do, like grabbing her ear. Mm-hmm. And then the second one we're going to do is completely against her moral fiber, something she would not do.
That is?
Slapping me in the face.
With the session in full swing, it's time to plant the first suggestion.
When you hear the word Adam, would it be okay with you if you were to scratch your ear?
I don't like the idea of this. This is trickery.
She's on.
Despite an encouraging start, it doesn't look like producer Alice is going to take the bait.
I did not agree to this.
Okay.
Before.
Looks like this myth is sinking faster than a lead balloon.
She knows we're trying to sneak in some post-hypnotic suggestions, and it's not working.
We didn't even get to the fun part. I wanted to see what she would do if we told her to do something totally crazy, like slap me.
Instead, it's a slap in the face for post-hypnotic suggestion. It works fine in the movies.
I must kill the queen.
But in the real world, well, even hypnotists say it can't be done.
Hypnosis can't control you. You have to want to accept the suggestion. But if you don't want to do it, it's not going to happen.
I'm so sad. I really wanted this one to work.
You wanted to get slapped in the face?
Well, we did get a good result. I mean, as soon as the hypnotist tried to make Alice do something against her will, she came right out of the hypnosis.
So it is just like they say, you never really go totally unconscious.
And most hypnotherapists and hypnotists agree that you can't make anyone do anything that's against their moral fiber.
So this one's busted?
Busted.
It's too bad, because I kind of wanted to take over the world.
Later, the Mythbusters get all fired up and try to put it out with a bang.
Fire in the hole!
But next, Jamie and Adam act for science.
When was that?
And put the team's memory to the test.
I can't remember anything else.
Hey, don't try what you're about to see at home. We're what you call experts.
That's right. We do this for a living.
Grant, Carrie, and Tori have been having so much fun exploring hypnosis myths
Like it's quantum physics.
that Adam and Jamie can't help but join them.
What are you doing?
Carrie, Grant, and Joy are doing hypnosis myths. And as long as they're exploring the subject, there is one I have always wanted to try.
Now, what's that?
Well, it's that you can remember more details under hypnosis than under normal circumstances. Like the police could put you under hypnosis and you'd remember all sorts of things about a crime you witnessed that you had no conscious memory of witnessing.
It's one of the most pervasive myths associated with hypnosis. But can going under really unleash a vast resource of hidden memories? So to put this myth to the test, they've enlisted the help of local actors Ryan and Brian to stage a scene that will take place in front of Carrie, Tori, and Grant.
The goal of this scene is to elevate their stress levels a little bit, make them view something that's slightly uncomfortable, and then they're going to have to remember exactly what happened. We're going to fill our little scenario with a bunch of details that they're supposed to remember. And we're going to see if they can remember more of those details under hypnosis than under normal conditions.
Excellent.
The basic scene is that Ryan and Brian are going to be delivery men with attitude.
Wait. You're a big man, huh? Big star?
Who push Jamie over the edge.
Well, that ought to work.
That is perfect. This is going to be an ideal test.
Yeah, there's a lot for them to remember there.
What's important for this myth is that there are plenty of actions and words to remember. But Adam wants to leave a series of visual clues as well.
Look at that.
A tattoo here, a few name tags there, and some company logos for good measure. These are the kinds of quality clues which, if remembered, could break a real-life crime case. But over at M7, will an unsuspecting Carrie, Tori, and Grant be able to remember more of these clues when under hypnosis? Only the camera crew have been let in on the little secret, so they can record it going down. So, let the scene be seen.
I have a package for M7.
I can take it.
You're that guy, man.
Hey, how's it going?
This is the guy from the show, right? You're from the show where they blow stuff up and stuff?
Yeah.
Oh my God. Do you mind if I get a signature though?
A whole array of clues are being dropped as the scene gets underway, but are any being picked up by the team?
Cool. Just put something like, live the myth, live the dream, or something like that.
You gotta be kidding me.
No, I'm
At
serious.
first, they don't take much notice.
Can I take a picture of you and me? I'm going to wear the beanie.
Until things escalate.
Wear the beanie.
Leave the hat alone. It's cool.
Oh,
we gotta get back to
You're
work here.
Big TV star, huh? Yeah, you don't
Now, the scene has got their undivided attention.
You know what? Screw that. What? No photo, no package. God, movie star.
Vlad, somebody's got time for this. Vlad.
When was that?
The only way that any of that would make sense if some music started and he started taking his clothes off or something.
It was like
With the show over, it's time to let them in on the scam.
How did you like that? That was pretty funny.
Crazy.
We constructed that whole scene to give you guys a bunch of facts to try and remember. The myth is that under hypnosis, you might remember more about a crime or an event that happened in front of you than you would under normal conditions.
That's good.
So we wrote down a whole bunch of details about the physical appearance of those guys and about the narrative of exactly what happened, and we have those questions in here. We're going to ask you guys this questionnaire, not under hypnosis, and then under hypnosis, and see if there's a difference in the results.
Time to find out as Tori, Carrie, and Grant submit to the Mythbusters memory exam.
I feel like I'm back in high school.
No, because if you were back in high school, you'd be cheating off of me.
I'm going to cheat off of you. I'm going to cheat off Grant. Ready? 1, 2, 3, and begin.
They're going to be asked the same set of questions before and after hypnosis. Questions about the culprits' names, their distinguishing features, and even their smell.
That's a weird question.
We'll test their range of recall across all the senses.
I think that's it. I'm done. I can't remember anything else.
So how do they rate their recall?
I mean, I know there's a lot of details that I probably got wrong. I remember things, but I don't remember specifics about those things.
He's not kidding. Although they could all remember some general info about the scene, no one was able to recall anything critical that could lead to an arrest in a real-life case. But will hypnosis help paint a clearer picture before this case goes cold?
Those guys don't seem to be doing too well with the Mythbusters memory exam.
No, they're not. Think you can do better? Log on to discovery.com/Mythbusters, where you'll find a video you can use to put your own memory to the test.
Coming right up, the team goes into a trance.
Sleep.
But first, fighting fires with firepower. In Voice Fire Extinguisher, Adam and Jamie have something to shout about. They've just used amplified sound waves to put out a record-sized flame. So, where does that leave the myth?
Are we ready to call this one?
I think based on what we've gotten so far, yeah. I think Charles Kellogg's original claim, the source of our myth, that you can put out a fire with an unamplified human voice, is totally busted.
And yet, like any good myth, there is an element of truth here.
No, I could not believe the results we got when our singer was able, although amplified, to put out that candle with his voice.
Yeah, and with a tone generator and a truckload of amplifiers and speakers, we were able to put out a pretty good-sized flame, which is really impressive.
And yet I don't feel like we can let this one rest here.
Well, what about explosives? I mean, sound's a pressure wave, and explosives create a pressure wave. As far as I know, they actually put out oil rig fires with explosives.
Sold. Let's do it. Once again, we find ourselves at the Alameda County Bomb Range. JD, Frank Doyle are helping us out. We're going to try and put out a fire with explosives.
In other words, they're going to fight fire with firepower, a technique that was developed to put out arguably the most dangerous infernos of all, oil well fires.
This technique was made famous by the late Red Adair, who's probably the most famous firefighter ever. He put out over 2,000 fires in his career. The guy was amazing.
But how exactly did he do it?
Sound is nothing but pressure. In the case of a sound wave, we've got repeated cycling of this pressure wave over and over again to create something that you hear. The theory of using an explosive to put out a fire is that the single pressure wave the explosive creates removes all of the oxygen from the fire so it can't burn.
To put this theory to the test, the first thing they're going to need is a fire, and that's Jamie's department.
Okay, systems check in 3, 2, 1. That worked perfectly. Was that beautiful or what? Look at that thing.
Yeah, it doesn't get much neater than that.
And first up for the fire in the hole test is black powder, a low-velocity explosive.
Are we ready? We are ready. This is the burrito. the black powder burrito.
With the black powder burrito in place, it's time for the three amigos to hunker in the bunker.
Okay. Are we set?
Yeah. This is for real.
Okay. Black powder test. I'm going to go ahead and ignite now.
Fire. We have fire.
It's all yours out.
Okay, pulling in. We're in place. Go. Beautiful. That worked perfectly. That could not have gone better.
The fire rig and explosives delivery system worked like a charm. But for fighting fires, they'd have been better off using black magic than black powder. Because as the high speed shows, the post-boom flame is burning as strong as ever. So they'll have to try again with something that has a little more bang for their buck.
Ha! That's fun!
So far in tackling the myth that hypnosis enhances memory recall, Janie and Adam have staged a scene.
Leave the hat alone. It's cool. We got to get back to work here.
And put the team's unassisted memory to the test.
I feel like I'm back in high school.
But the case has gone cold, with all three flunking the Mythbusters memory exam. Now, it's time to find out if hypnosis will help them remember any critical clues. Hypnotist Dave Hill thinks it will.
I'm going to do everything in my hypnotic ability to help you gain more memory. Sound like fun?
Yeah. All right.
Okay.
Dave spent the last 20 years putting people under, and he's convinced he can refresh memories using the technique of rapid hypnosis.
Just give me your hand if you would. That's good. I'm going to place my hand here if that's okay.
Okay.
By the time I reach the count of one, you'll be in a very deep state of hypnotic sleep. That's fine. You're doing perfectly in sleep.
The idea is to overload the mind with sudden, firm commands.
Okay, close your eyes down, my friend. Roll your eyeballs up to the top of your head. Try and open your eyelids once, twice. Notice they don't work. Way down. Sleep. Way down. And sleep. Way down. Sleep. That's fine. You're doing great. In a moment, we're going to have you answer some questions on paper about the incident that you saw. Before we do that, I want to help you with your memory. What we're going to now give you in your mind's eye is a wonderful TV set with a remote control that allows you to fast forward, to reverse scenes, to put the scenes in slow motion.
With Dave at the helm, the team retakes the very same test in their hypnotic state.
Do their uniforms have name tags or patches? Look at them carefully. What was written on their name tags? Did either delivery man have a tattoo?
Several probing questions later, and it's time to re-emerge and find out if hypnosis helped them remember any additional information that'll crack the case.
Wide awake, feeling fantastic in every way.
The papers have been graded, and the new scores are in with exciting results. Carrie has remembered some important dialogue.
You're that guy, dude. You know that guy from the show? They blow stuff up.
This is the guy from the show, right? You're from the show where they blow stuff up?
Wait, I'm going to call my brother.
You know what? I'm going to call my brother real fast.
All of that I remembered after we relaxed with the hypnosis.
But it's Grant and Tori that have come up trumps with the types of quality information that would really help a real-life investigation.
I don't even remember name tags, but when we went under hypnosis, a name popped up.
Was it the right name?
Yeah.
What's his name?
Joe.
And Grant was able to describe the tattoo in detail.
For purposes of identifying someone at a crime scene, that's really important information.
I'm totally impressed by the results.
So, thanks to hypnosis, looks like the case might be solved after all.
So, did you guys do any better remembering details under hypnosis?
Well, I remember that one of the guys had a tattoo on his neck under hypnosis.
That's really important.
Oh, yeah.
Tori remembered a name.
I totally did not expect this to work. I mean, given that, are we calling this confirmed?
We have what it takes to be confirmed.
Confirmed.
I'm a believer.
That's amazing.
Coming right up, will an even bigger boom silence the sizzle?
3, 2, 1, go.
At the bomb range, the Mythbusters are trying to put out fires with explosives. I'll let Adam explain why.
We have already tried putting out fires with sound. We started out with our voice. Then we moved on to sound generating equipment. Now we're trying explosives. We have already tried black powder to put out fires. Now we're going with high explosives. The throughput here, the key point that travels through all these experiments, is attempting to use waves, either sound waves or shock waves, to put out fire.
And next up in this thread, it's the Mythbusters' favorite.
We've used high explosives a number of times on the show. Exploding safe, exploding pants. And then there, of course, is the granddaddy of them all, which was 22,000-foot fall.
The 1,000 pounds of high explosives triggered not only the biggest blast in Mythbusters history, but also, rather alarmingly for this test, set the surrounding hillside ablaze. Now, in a reversal of fate, Jamie and Adam want to know if the same ingredients can be used to put out fires.
That's high explosive, huh? That is a high explosive.
Wow. It looks more like a taco.
So why would high explosives work when low explosives fail?
Is there a real qualitative difference between a high explosive shockwave and a low explosive shockwave?
Oh, very definitely. A high explosive shock wave is much more intense. It's more of a wall. It has more push and more speed.
It's that push, that immense pressure wave that should apparently be able to extinguish the flame.
This is Can We Put Out a Fire with High Explosives? 3, 2, 1, go.
There it is. Fire.
Okay.
Taking out spark.
Spark off.
Putting explosives into position. It's in. And firing. Wow! That was awesome! Woo!
For Jamie's fire, it was a boom of doom. It's been completely and utterly extinguished. The high explosives sure did the trick. By removing the oxygen, they suffocated the fire. But as a firefighting technique, Jamie spotted an obvious flaw.
It's not something you want to put out a fire in your house with, or you'll remove your house. You don't want to put out a fire on your car just because you happen to have some firecrackers in the trunk. This is a very specialized thing that works sometimes if it's set up exactly right. So what do you think? Was the fire big enough? I think so.
Well, talk about fighting fire with fire.
We were able to put out a fire with explosives.
I gotta say, this one has carried us very far afield, but it's been some of the most fun experiments I think we've ever done.
And it was pretty high up there on the don't try this at home list, wasn't it?
Absolutely.